The Rock, Liver King, Mike O'Hearn, Chris Hemsworth, they should all come clean, say, hey everyone, I'm on the gear. Just so everyone knows, I'm on the juice. Now that the Liver Kings came out, everyone might as well do it. We know what's happening. We're not dumb. Go out to the survey on the street right now and ask everyone, do you think The Rock is natural? The majority of people would say no. No one believes it. Alright guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Have you subscribed yet? Come on. We're on our way to 10,000 subscribers. Going to be the best channel right here for fitness. I talk about the stuff that no one else wants to, and I've got no fear. I'm scared of no topic out there, cause I'm mad. But today we're going to be doing a reaction. Derek from More Plates, More Dates was on Joe Rogan the other week, and they were talking about if The Rock was natural or not.
Does The Rock say he's clean?
He has implied it pretty heavily, but he also doesn't end up in scenarios where he gets asked point blank, whereas Liver King goes out of his way to fucking lean into it and use it as like a marketing spiel.
That's so true. No one ever asks The Rock about steroids. He's being asked about it once, despite the fact that everyone knows. He must have a great PR agent or manager who tells all these interviewers before they go on, here's a list of the stuff you can't talk about. The Tren, the Anavar, the Winstrol, the testosterone.
The Rock should come clean right now. He should make a video in response to the Liver King video. I need to talk to you because The Rock's been lying.
Yeah.
And how much do you think this would affect his brand? I think maybe initially he'll get a lot of people unfollowing him, but I think because it's The Rock and he's charismatic, I think long term he'd bounce back. Who knows though, it might actually destroy his career. And that's why they lie about it.
No, yeah,
there's not a fucking chance in hell he's clean.
No.
Not a chance in hell. As big as The Rock is, at 50...
Yeah, and he's getting bigger. Did you see him in Black Adam? He actually refused to wear the suit with the padding in it because he didn't want to be artificially enhanced. He wanted to actually be big enough within his physique, so he didn't need the pads in the suit. Rather than artificially enhancing himself with the padding, he artificially enhanced himself with the steroids. Oh, the irony.
What was wild is he came out, okay, and I get this is like coincides with the message he would want to push too, and I don't think it's like disingenuous necessarily, but it's like he was on a Men's Health interview and he talks about how his #1 priority is longevity now.
The Rock?
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, like everything you're doing is like the hyper opposite of that, like in terms of a diet, a lifestyle, potentially, but like the drug exposure to maintain the physique, to then do the superhero roles, to do the whatever at his age, like it's clearly not longevity focused. It's very much like, how much can I milk this right now with my brand sort of thing. And
this is so true. Steroids 100% shorten your lifespan. It's just that people are in denial about it. I talk about it every single day on my TikTok, my Instagram, my Facebook, now my YouTube, and I get so much pushback from people who are on gear, who are in complete denial about the side effects, and they'll say stuff like, oh, gear doesn't shorten your lifespan, not only if you use it a little bit. Okay, if you use a little bit, it's not going to shorten your lifespan as much as if you're using a lot, but you are still shaving years off your life versus if you didn't take it. There's a reason why a lot of these bodybuilders are dying early, in the 50s, 40s, even some of them are dying in the 30s. So I don't want to hear that argument about how steroids don't shorten your lifespan. That's bullshit.
When you're looking at a physique, let's look at a physique of The Rock, like a full jacked Rock. Find The Rock at his most jackety jacked.
He's like pretty fucking peaked in terms of like the last few years. He's definitely like turned it up a notch.
At 50.
Yeah.
That's natural, bro. That's
how could you think otherwise?
Eats a lot of sushi.
Yeah.
For those who are wondering, sushi to The Rock is what horse meat is to Alistair Overeem. If you know, you know.
But point is, it's like you can't even get there with HRT. That's not HRT.
No.
Like that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And it's like, is this pro longevity? Like, of course not. And it's
no, he's so massive and he's so different than he was when he was 30.
I get a lot of people asking me, Shaun, how can you tell if someone's on steroids? And a good way to tell is if they've got a very 3D effect to the muscles. This photo is a prime example of what I'm talking about. His muscle bellies are very, very full. And at age 50, we tend to lose that 3D effect anyway. Now, it's hard to get this 3D effect when you're natural, unless you've got insane top 1% genetics. That being said, you will still lose a lot of this 3D fullness to your muscles as you age. I'd argue in your late 30s, early 40s, let alone get more 3D and more full in your 50s. That picture is insane, and that shows that The Rock is running some heavy steroids.
So to have all of a sudden 30 years later, like you're in better form than you were in your 20s.
Unfortunately, we can't reverse the aging process. It doesn't matter how hard you train, you will lose your progress as you get older, especially if you are natural and you haven't got enhancements. We lose our ability to train hard and have the same work capacity that we did when we were in our early 20s. You cannot train harder in your 50s than you did in your 20s.
There's a responsibility that you have to people that are listening to you. And if you don't want to talk about it, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if you do talk about it, there's a responsibility that you have to people that are listening to you. And I think you have to be honest. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a hormone replacement. I think it's actually wise. I think it's healthier. I feel way better than I did before I was doing it. And I started doing it when I was like 37, 38. And even then, I was just taking like the cream. I was taking testosterone cream. And like right away, I was like, oh my God, it feels so much better. Like everything felt better. I don't think it's wrong. I think it's smart. But you got to be honest.
Joe's completely right. There's nothing wrong with taking steroids in general, especially when it's just hormone replacement therapy. So bringing your testosterone levels back up to normal amounts. But this is where the debate happens. Should you tell people that you're on steroids, especially if you're in a super influential position? If you're on gear and you've got a large audience, and then you announce to your audience that you're taking stuff, is it going to influence millions of people to hop on the gear versus lying about it and potentially giving them hope that they will eventually look like you? I personally think lying about it is worse, because you're giving all these kids hope and they're going to go to the gym, train their asses off, and never ever look like you, and eventually get on steroids anyway. That is how it works. When I used to watch Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies back in the day, I wanted a physique like them, yet I knew they were on steroids. For God's sake, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a professional bodybuilder, but that didn't deter me from wanting to go to the gym. I just seen Arnie and that just inspired me to go to the gym. But I was never a fool. I knew Arnie had taken steroids. He was open about it in the past. Has it affected his career? Of course not. Everyone knows Arnold Schwarzenegger's done steroids. Yeah, he's super successful. The problem is when people get caught in the lie and they can't backtrack now because they've doubled and quadrupled down on it over the years.
What do you think an A-list actor should do if they were asked point blank in an interview on like a movie? Like they're promoting a movie that they just did where they just peaked their physique, and it's clear to the person who's can discern what's going on.
Like Thor.
Yeah, let's just say Hemsworth is in an interview.
Yeah.
What do you think he should answer when he's asked point blank? Like, did you use any enhancement?
Well, Mickey Rourke did.
Did he?
Shout out to Mickey Rourke. Yeah, when Mickey Rourke did The Wrestler, he told everybody.
And as I've just said, yeah, I think that they should. They don't have to come out and say, listen, I took steroids. But there's ways of saying it without actually saying it. You could say something along the lines of, this role was highly demanding. I needed to get in peak physical condition. Given the time frame that we had, it was only 8 to 10 weeks to get in phenomenal shape. I needed to build 10 kilos of muscle and strip fat. Unfortunately, that's not achievable naturally. So I had to do things properly with the right help and the right assistance. And then we made sure we came off everything properly. It was all done with professional help. So you could say something like that.
There's definitely an argument to be made that when you have such an impressionable and massive audience, that if you say this is what it took to get here, it very much could influence the trajectory of certain younger men who are trying to aspire to be like you. So like I see both sides of the coin for sure. So it's kind of an interesting scenario for some of the actors, because I think just unspokenly some of these interviewers know to not ask the question.
Right.
But like it's just an interesting scenario in which I would wonder what the best answer is if it's just point blank yes.
There's a difference between being honest and glorifying it. So for example, I speak out against a lot of these lads on TikTok who are glorifying their steroid use, and they will literally change the username to have the word trend in it, and they talk about how amazing they feel, and they're putting cool music over physique update videos, and they look insane like comic book characters, and it's very glorified. I'd argue that bodybuilding doesn't even glorify steroid use. If you ever follow bodybuilders on social media, it looks like a pretty boring, grueling grind of a lifestyle, whereas all these TikTokers are glorifying it. So I think you should be honest, just don't glorify.
There was a guy who got really jacked for a superhero role, and he did a friend of mine's podcast. And he said to him before the podcast, I'll talk about anything, but do not ask me about drugs. Please don't talk to me about steroids or drugs. It was the #1 thing he did not want to talk about.
As I said earlier on in the video, I think that happens a lot. They'll speak to the interviewers and podcasters and say, listen, just don't talk about this stuff. And because a lot of these actors have huge followings and massive influence, it's in the interviewers and podcasters' best interest to oblige. Because then if they do ask them and break that trust, The Rock or Chris Hemsworth will never come back on their show ever again. Next time that they're bringing out a huge movie, it's all business and money at the end of the day. The Rock's going to come on my show. All I have to do is not talk about steroids. Sound.
Studios and the massive amount of money that's involved in a film. Like the one thing they don't want is to jeopardize any of the potential income, right?
Yeah.
And if you come out and say, you know, the only way I got this way for the Hulk is I had to take massive amounts of steroids, and this is just how it is, people are going to get upset. Oh, you cheated. And there's a mentality as you go further down the line that people are less and less educated about the realities of fitness and physiques. As you go further and further down the line, there's a mentality where people are like, Barry Bonds cheated, Mark McGuire cheated, those are cheaters.
Or Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, Lance Armstrong cheated.
Yeah.
And they're just uneducated.
Exactly what I was saying. It's all based on money. And Joe was also right when he said that people just are very uneducated. People do think that you just take steroids and you turn into an absolute monster. Steroids will get you 10 times the results as long as you're still putting all of the work in. But you don't just take gear and then get the physique without doing anything. And there are those people out there who will just go, oh, steroids, you cheated, you cheated. That's not my message whatsoever. I just believe that you should focus on building an athletic, good-looking, attractive, aesthetic physique naturally. Focus on improving your knowledge and getting really good in the gym. If you improve your skill in the gym and you get stronger on all the right compound lifts, then your physique will naturally change. This is exactly what I've done. I haven't really got the best genetics. My muscle building genetics are quite poor, but all I did was focus on getting stronger in the gym, staying as athletic as I could, and now when I go on holiday with my top off, I look really good, and girls will approach me, and I've got the confidence in myself, in my physique, in who I am as a man, to stand there with my chest held high and confident in myself. And if this is something that you want to achieve, check out my Natural Physique Academy below. It's a step-by-step, week-by-week system, and will show you everything that you need to know about building muscle naturally. Make sure you like and subscribe. Multiple videos every single week. We do long-form videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I upload YouTube shorts every single day. I'll see you on the next one.